You don't, you spell it exactly how how you want it to be on your ijazah. That's how it is. The people in this class have been coming, inshallah ta'ala. I'm going to give you guys ijazah in one surah of the Quran. First, everybody familiar with what ijazah is? Or isnad? Ijazah is permission to do something. That's what it is. We use it as a general term. But what I'm meaning right now is isnad. Okay? Sorry?
Certificate.
It's more than a certificate. They may translate that in English like that. But isnad is the chain of narrators or chain of reporters going from me to the Prophet ﷺ in Surah Al-Kawthar. It's a special type of ijazah or isnad that tulabul ilm try to get. They're always trying to get because it's rare. Okay? We're trying to make it. Isnad and those things shouldn't be rare. Okay? But, that's the way it has become. And we're trying to change that for those who deserve it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there are certain types of things that you can get ijazah from generally. One of them is the hadith and this is what it is, it's a hadith that has in the hadith the narration of Surah Al-Kawthar. What goes like this: one day the Prophet ﷺ was with his companions and he felt the weight of the revelation come down, and his camel fell down with the weight. Okay? And he closed his eyes, it seemed like he was going through it. Then he opened it up and they said, Ya Rasulullah. They asked him, what's going on? He said, today something has been revealed to me. I've been given Al-Kawthar. And he recited Surah Al-Kawthar to them. Okay? He recited, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar, fasalli li rabbika wanhar, Inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar, or huwa al-abtar. And this was after the death of his son. His son had just died, and the munafiqun, not the munafiqun, astaghfirullah, because there were no munafiqun at this time. They were in Mecca. The kuffar were making fun of him. Batara Muhammad, no, he ain't got no children, he ain't gonna have no sons, that's his girl children. And so they were making fun of him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this surah to him before he heard them saying that. Before he heard them saying that, which is another mercy. So this narration is one of the ones we get when you, as a studying hadith, you get this and you're really happy to get that particular narration. And as people of the Quran, we try to give it early to people who are memorizing and becoming part of the Ahlul Quran. Because it's as if now you have isnad to narrate that particular, or recite that particular surah, going from you all the way to the Prophet. And I'm going to give you the list of names going from me, all the way to the Prophet, reciting that surah. Okay? It should be something that is special. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. For you guys participating in the class all month as much as you can. Okay? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So let's get started. This is the last day. Well, I guess I will be using the board. Okay? I didn't think I was going to use it. Could you erase the board, please? I'm going to have to do this a little bit different, and we'll go ahead, erase the board. Because we have so many pages left to do in the Quran, I'm going to have to summarize some of the things that we have here. Where were we at? Because I lost track. Some of you guys should remember where we're at. Surah Al-A'raf. Where in Surah Al-A'raf? Are we at the story of Musa yet?
No, we're just getting ready to talk about Musa. That's what he was going to.
Which one was it? 94, 95, right? Are you sure it was that far away? You have that as well? Okay, we have confirmation.
What page is that?
Page 162. Now, so far in this surah, Surah Al-A'raf, we've learned a few things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins the first 9 ayah, right, or 10 ayah. He's reminded us that he created us, okay, and he's ordering us to follow the Prophet, okay, making us become firm, knowing this is what we have to have firmness. Then we learned the stories in more detail about Adam and Iblis. Some of the details that we didn't know earlier. What is the main thing that you learned in this particular story that you didn't know previous or hadn't taken consideration of? In this story, you learn how Shaitan, what he does to alter our nature. What does he do? Food. He introduces food to us that causes us to change our nature, and that change in nature is inclined to do what? What about our nature? How mess us up? Not just mess.
Expose the weakness of our nature.
Takes you off the fitra.
True, but there's a particular aspect of it that I want to focus on. Causes us to become immodest, indecent. Okay? Focuses on fahsha, fawahish. Okay? Being immoral and lewd. Okay? That's this whole trick. And it eventually leads to bestiality. Okay? Now some people think, well, it just means, it's just going to lead to zina, right? No, not to the ladies in the back, but give it to Hassan. Come sign the paper here. But really, and other people think, oh, well, it's just going to lead to homosexuality. No. The ultimate goal of Shaitan with his lewd behavior, or promoting lewd behavior, is to have people to become like animals. Okay? And to change not just their the zina aspect, but now there's a promotion of bestiality. See, the rules of homosexuality are right next to the laws of bestiality in the law books. So when they decided to redo the laws of homosexuality, they did with a hand, taking out the laws of bestiality at the same time. Okay? Where they're lessening it as a crime in the United States. Okay, so we're going to see the promotion of that eventually till people start dressing or identifying as animals. Like you see now, people are identifying as the different sex. They'll soon be identifying as different creatures. And Allah knows best. Okay? But this is what some of our ulama have told us is the ultimate step by degree movement of Shaitan. And I could see it. I mean, you see these people now dressing all weird, right? Getting the what do you call it? The sex change where they get the body parts different. Pretty soon they're getting dog ears. You think they think it's cute. But come on, guys, can you not see it?
Yeah, you see it all the time.
Transgender.
They're going to call it trans something, but they're going to be starting dressing like animals or identifying as animals. May Allah, not allow us to be alive at that time.
They do. You're right. They got the piercing of like the back.
Right, they're going to start doing. They're going to do that. They already do it in New York City. Before I left New York City, there were people who were identifying as what do you call it? Draculas. What do you call them? Things? Vampires. And they were getting their teeth changed, with the dentists and stuff like that, and using blood, and So alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. The next thing we see here is we have the story where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us step by step, O sons of Adam, O sons of Adam, O sons of Adam. And he gives us particular advice about how to eat properly and how to dress properly. And if you note, those particular instructions are in the theme of the surah here. Okay? That what we eat is not only important from the story of Adam and Shaitan, but from the advices Allah gives to help us as we go forward. Eat properly, dress properly, and don't become dysfunctional, he says. Dysfunctional expresses itself differently with regards to clothes, wearing clothes that don't form function first, okay? And too long, right, for the men, too short for the lady. This doesn't serve the function, right? Or you can't do anything with them. So we have to alter our clothing to cover our aura and to be functional in the societies that we live in. We have to eat food that is fulfilling and wholesome. Look right now, we're almost at the end of Ramadan. So we haven't eaten during the daytime, right? Unless we were sick, we didn't eat, or traveling, we didn't eat during the daytime. But we really weren't anything but tired. We weren't really hungry. But the effects of not eating only affected us with tiredness. Is that fair to say? Now, what if we were able to drink water all day? Do you think you would have gotten as tired? Because mostly it's the water that we're feeling, that our mind tells us we need water. Is that, again, fair? Now, what if we just ate a snack, some nuts, something small, nothing major, during the day sometime? We wouldn't have felt any hunger because we didn't feel it and we didn't eat. Okay? We wouldn't have needed a big meal or even a meal, right? And because we drank water, we would not have had any tiredness. Does that make sense? And this is the sunnah. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he advised us, strong advice, by telling us that it is enough, sufficient for the sons of Adam, enough, a couple of bites, enough to make his back straight. Okay? Right, yeah, right. That means make his back straight. You know, let's keep him straight so he won't be all broken down. And we should practice that, sitting up as well. You know, so this is something that, if we were to look at it, why are we eating then? Why are we eating so much outside of Ramadan during the day? Because we're unorganized, number one. We organized our time here. And just by organizing how we eat, we go to bed at nighttime, don't we? We get home and we sleep in those homes now. And we get up early and we organize and we eat. And we make sure we're taking our time. Now, when we can do that. Now, Ramadan time is very packed. So, inshallah ta'ala, I hope that we can take our time and organize our day differently outside of Ramadan, okay? And not go back to eating inappropriately. The other reason I believe that we eat so much during the daytime is out of boredom and procrastination and out of habit. We've got into these bad habits and it is literally killing us. Literally killing us. And even the Kafir scientists are saying that humans work better, their best, when they're half-starved. Half-starved. Because when you eat too much, what is that we call the person get? Itis, not... He gets itis. He gets the itis. Itis is the technical term, the more appropriate term, because itis is swelling, right? Something has swollen, and here the stomach has swollen. And so we start getting lethargic, right? Why do we get lethargic, people? Because most of our immune system is tied to our stomach, our digestion system, which makes sense, right? As the Prophet ﷺ, he told us all sicknesses come from the stomach. Except we start thinking like Westerners and thinking the stomach is just that bowl. Okay, in Eastern thought, the stomach starts with the throat and ends with the anus. So that whole process is considered the stomach. And we find that in all of Eastern medicine. Okay? So when you overeat, now your immune system has to work hard to make sure all aspects of it is making sure that you're not killing yourself with that thing, right? And so it takes all the blood and all the energy there and away from your intellect, away from the other parts of the body. So we have to shut down to keep you safe. Does that make sense, everybody? And this is why we get the lethargy and sleep, so that our body can protect us in that way. So stopping eating is a practice Allah is teaching us from this Ramadan to discipline ourselves and to break the habit, the addiction of eating just because we ain't got nothing else to do, or just because it looks good, or I got a taste for that. And look how much money we saved. Okay? Look how much money we saved. I got food in the refrigerator still. I don't know how I'm going to eat it. Because, with the meat and stuff like that, you just can't eat it. You get the plates that we get, when you get home, you're just like, you have a choice, eat or sleep. And if I eat and don't get to sleep, then I might not wake up for suhoor. And I'm not doing that, So you eat a little bit, and you know what? It's enough. It's enough. And you go, and the only thing that we're feeling is a tightness. So Allah is telling us here in the Quran to not become dysfunctional, musrifin, with regards to our clothing and with regards to our eating habits, and that this is a means of protecting us from shaitan. And so we need to believe Allah, and to show that we believe is to put it into practice. Remember, this surah is about being proactively for Allah and not being lackadaisical, mediocrity, having mediocrity. It shows us in this surah that you cannot be ghafil. What does ghafil mean? You don't pay enough attention. It doesn't seem as serious to you as it is. Negligent in the case that you didn't pay it no attention. You didn't think about it. That's what ghafil is. You didn't consider the ramifications and what that should mean. That's what this surah is about. And what points to that, Nuh and Lut and Shu'aib, in each one of those stories, yes, the da'wah was about the message being La ilaha illallah. You don't have a God besides him, right? I'm giving you good advice, sincere advice. And each time, what happened? Istikbaran. Some people became arrogant. Why was their problem? They said we should not be seen as equals, right? The Ad and the Thamud were like, no, we cannot be equal with everybody else. We got it going on. We are in charge. And this is the problem with Iblis, right? So it's the same again. We said when you follow Iblis, then that becomes adawah. That becomes why we have problems amongst ourselves, because we've picked up some characteristics of Iblis. And Iblis's main problem was he did not believe, he was jealous of what Allah had blessed someone else with. And this is the problem with humankind. I'm mad that you are getting something that I don't think you deserve, that I think I deserve more of it. And so this adawah, this animosity, I'm not pointing at you, I'm just using this example. No, I say that because Shaykh al-Bukhari pointed at somebody in his lessons, and he would tell them that I'm not doing that because sometimes that can even cause problems with people. Maybe not him. Maybe his mother said, "What you point at my son for?" So it's not him, okay? But because he's a student, I could pick on him a little bit. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So what was I saying?
Pointing at you.
No, not that. Some of the people, right? Some of the people were, but in these stories, the people were upset that they were going to make equal with everybody else, and they wanted to have higher rank. And in the other place, people just rejected. We don't want that message. And in every case, Allah clarified this. You hear the language each time. So we say, فَأَنْجَيْنَاهُ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ. And so we saved him, that prophet, and those that were ma'ahu, those that were with him. May Allah make us with our prophet. So then we go on to, as we go further, and we get, not the Naka, and we get to the story of Bani Israel again. Now in this surah, there is the longest, the most detailed story of Musa in the Quran. I'm sorry we weren't able to get to it, okay? But in this story, it picks up everything that was in Baqarah, right? Those stories in Baqarah. And now, just like we got more details from the story of Adam from in Baqarah, this goes into it in detail of what happens and all those types of things. Even to the point where Musa grabs his brother and puts him in a headlock. He grabs Harun by his head, puts him and drags him to him. It's a nice story, what's going on and everything that happened there. Even to the point that after they leave, Bani Israel leaves from Fir'aun, they see some other people worshiping a calf. And they say, yo, don't you make us an idol like that? And he says, you guys are ignorant. You guys still don't get it. Okay? And so then at the end of that, we find another story. The story of the people who violated the Sabbath. Okay? And it is the key point story in this particular surah that Mufassirin always go to. Why? Because at the end, when it comes to the end here, it's starting to wrap it up. Okay? Now in the story of the Sabbath, Allah says, now, watlu alayhim, give them to recite to them the story of the people who lived by the ocean. And they were living by the ocean. And what happened? They were told not to, to fish during the Sabbath. Now the Sabbath starts at Friday evening at sunset, at Maghrib. Okay? The Jews are just like us. They start their day at Maghrib. And growing up in New York, we were very aware of that because Friday, all those guys got off work early. Okay? And they would rush hours, especially hard in Brooklyn on Fridays, especially if you lived in Crown Heights, because they were rushing to the synagogue to get there before Maghrib. You know? And of course you want to know why, because they got to start the Sabbath. Ain't that tomorrow? Nah, it starts tonight, brother. You know? And so, you know, when we said, man, these guys have the same understanding as the Muslims do. Walhamdulillah. And so from Maghrib on Friday till Maghrib on Saturday, you know, that's their Sabbath. They're not allowed to cook evens, and that's why you have pickled foods and crackers and stuff like that. So, and spreads, so you don't have to prepare a cooked meal and everything, and those foods won't spoil. Okay? So that's another thing we get from that. And so the Jews were throwing their nets, some of them were throwing their nets into the water and pretend that we're not fishing, we're not going to pull them out, it's the Sabbath. So the fish would come up on the Sabbath all the way up to the top. And the days that it wasn't the Sabbath, it would go deep, dive deep, and they couldn't get but a few fish. So they did that and they pulled the fish in on Sunday. Get it? And now some Jews said, man, that's haram. What y'all doing? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. That's illegal. We're not buying those fish that y'all got on the Sabbath, and we're not eating them. Okay? Another group said, man, why you even bothering with those guys? Okay? If Allah wanted, he'll punish them. If Allah wants, he'll kill them. You know, he'll destroy them. But I'm going to eat that fish. Those fish is good. And they would buy them. Okay? They weren't the ones fishing, but they weren't saying nothing about it. And the people said, we telling them so that we can have an excuse before Allah. Understand that. Yo, we're going to have an excuse with your Lord, right? And perhaps they would repent. Perhaps they would have taqwa. Perhaps that reminder might affect them and they would stop doing that. They foolish. I ain't worried. I ain't going to say nothing to them. I'm just going to buy it. That's on them. It's on them. It's the mentality. So Allah sent his punishment down and he destroyed everybody except the people who warned him. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Except the people who were giving them the maw'idah and warning them, telling them not to do it. At this point, we take a step back and we put that in light of everything we've seen so far. And we get the theme being played out more. Halfway ain't enough with Allah. It's not enough that you didn't do it. You have to be clearly, proactively moving towards applying and practicing the sunnah. We have the same rule as those Jews. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man yara minkumul munkar fa." So whoever amongst you sees some munkar, something that is inappropriate, he has to change it with his hands when he can. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ, then he has to speak out against it and say, hey, that's wrong. You can't do that. That's not right. Stop. Sit up, young man. And then if his calling out against it is going to cause more harm, then he shouldn't say anything. Does that make sense? He should. If it's going to cause more harm. For example, if he says something, he's going to get locked up. You get my point? If he says something, it's going to cause him somebody's going to come and fight him, then he shouldn't say anything, or she shouldn't say anything in that regard. And we talk about this a lot in marital affairs, because sometimes we see at the home there's fights, husband and wife fighting, children and parent. The children, I'm going to tell my parents, you better watch what you tell your parents, you know, and how you tell them, because it may cause more harm. Let's say they're doing something incorrect. Is it your place to say that type of thing to them? Well, Allah says, يَأْمُرُ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, but there's a certain way of doing it. If we look at the da'wah of Ibrahim, Ya abati, oh my father, with respect and a whole lot of class. And if you still know that they're going to say, no, I don't, shut up, you know, then you better shut up and leave them be. Husband and wife, same thing. If you know your husband's going to get mad and turn into the Incredible Hulk, you know what I'm saying, because you challenged him in a certain way, or especially in front of the children or family or something like that, then let him alone. Go ahead with his bed, you know, because that's worse. That's worse. Causing harm. So the harm can't be worse. And that's because of another hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man yu'min billahi wal yawm al-akhir falyaqul al-khair aw liyasmut." And the word usmut means shut up. It doesn't mean be quiet. Be quiet means uskut. Okay? Hudu, be quiet. Okay? And then usmut is shut your mouth. It's firm, strong language. And so the Prophet ﷺ using strong language like that is indicative of the strong emphasis of being quiet when it's not going to bring khair. And so Imam Shafi said you have to weigh it. If you're speaking, it's going to be the same. Whether you say something or don't say something, then you don't say anything. Clearly, if it's not going to cause any good, then you don't say anything. Only when you have a strong premonition that it's going to cause some good do you say something. Because what? Ali said, لِكُلِّ مَقَامٍ مَقَامٍ. Every particular place and circumstance has its own particular type of speech. And a man was walking on a battlefield like a duck, like a duck cursing and threatening, and the Prophet said, "This is the place for that." You get the point? So every particular circumstance and situation has its right type of speech. We shouldn't be on a battlefield like this. Okay, come on, please, guys, could you come to Islam?
It's on to the break of dawn.
It's on. You done. You're finished. You know what I'm saying? So you get my point? So again, that becomes a place. So من يرى منكم المنكر فيغيره بيده وإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع, because of those reasons we stated earlier, فبقلبه, with his heart. And that's the weakest of Iman. Meaning that if you don't hate it in your heart, then you have no Iman. And we have the example of the naked woman in the street for the guys who are walking through the street and they see the lady who's undressed but dressed, right, showing all her parts, and they see her. They didn't try to. They see her and they say, "MashaAllah," like they like it. You get the point? As opposed to A'udhu Billah. If you don't hate that with your heart, then you have lost all your Iman. And some of the ulama say that your Iman has left through your eyes. Just like we can see your brain pressure through looking through your eyes, right? Your Iman goes out through the eyes. And this is one of the reasons why Allah tells us to lower our gaze, so you don't lose your Iman in that particular fashion. So here Allah shows us that He destroyed the people that didn't commit the crime, but they didn't reject the crime. Did you see that? In the story of the people who violated the Sabbath? And He turned them into monkeys too, along with the people that violated the crime. Do you understand what we're trying to say with this surah? Yeah. That you have to be all the way down. Or as Allah says, "Udkhulu fi silmi kaffatan." Enter into Islam all the way down, like faux flat tires, as they used to say back in the days. All the way in. And we talk this stuff because meet lots of Muslims who were gangsters or were involved heavily with types of things, and they say how down they were in those particular lifestyles. Well, be that here. Okay, do that here in the positive way. Be all the way committed. Because any lackluster commitment puts you with the other side, according to Allah's rule. And He's shown us that example with Surah Al-A'raf and the example of the people who violated the Sabbath. Okay? And so we have to look at our life now. We mentioned the 7 steps. Now with that, what do we do as a mufassir? We look to our culture and our lifestyle and say, what are we doing? Like I gave the example of the woman. What are the things in the society that we see, that we don't agree with, that we may be silent about or not hating? Okay? Because if we can't speak out against it, that we should at least be hating it, consciously hating it in our hearts. Because we love for the sake of Allah and we hate that thing for the sake of Allah as well. You get the point? And make sure that we are doing that. And make sure that we look through our culture, because there's this other thing. We're talking about Aqidah, also always talking about Aqidah, right? And I mentioned that in this surah, our Aqidah is shown through our mu'amalat, our suluk and our mu'amalat. You see how this is suluk, our attitude, and our mu'amalat based on our Aqidah? Well, when we study Aqidah, we sometimes get wrapped around the axle. Okay, wrapped around the axles means like, you're chopping a log, right? And you're so focused on getting a good chop, you forget that what is your job here? To cut the log, right? And so you're busy getting a good chop that you cut your whole leg because you were just focusing on, and the log was already chopped. You get it? So don't be that focused on the issue that you miss what you're supposed to be doing. What happens in Aqidah is when we study Aqidah sometimes, we hear things that the Arabs were familiar with, were customary amongst them to do in the days of Jahiliyyah. And so we start talking and giving lectures about don't pray at the graves. Let me ask you guys something. When was the last time you ever prayed at a grave in Jahiliyyah before you became Muslim?
Never.
Never. It's not part of your culture, is it? It's not part of our culture. Okay, so we don't need to have a long lecture about it. What we need to understand is they looked at their culture and they identified activities that go contrary to the concept of Tawheed. And they extracted those superstitious acts out of their culture. And that's what you have to do. We do throw rice at a wedding, though. We do throw salt over our back. We don't step on a crack to break mama's back, right? We don't walk under a ladder. Well, that's stupid anyway. You might knock the guy down. But you get my point? We have to now use the concepts that we learn in Aqidah to identify what is wrong in our society. And that means we have to go hand and foot, with a fine-tooth comb, identifying what are we doing? What are our acts and our norms and our superstitions? And how do we throw them against the filter of Islam, and how do they come out? Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. And we haven't done that fairly. We haven't done that. And this is where we are wrong. And this is why our Islam is not affecting us in the way it's supposed to be. It's only...
I was trying to pass out some meat to some...
I know. I was waiting for you to say something the first time you came, and you were saying, and you woke up. That's why I wanted this. That's why I turned and said, okay. We got, he slaughtered. They have meat outside. Could you go? You want to go give it to them, or what you want?
Yeah. Brother's gonna come. It's already like 5-6 bags.
I got mine already.
Eating any lamb or anything?
You guys don't want to go? Maybe, okay, well, we'll come at the end. They'll come at the end of the class. No, it's not cooked. It's not cooked.
Yeah, it's not cooked.
It's not cooked.
Talk to them, they might take it.
Y'all don't have like a refrigerator or something?
Ask those guys.
Yeah, those guys will take it.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Remind me where I was at.
So we have to, in terms of Aqidah, we have to look at our society
Extract it from our
and
culture.
put it through the filter of Islam.
Right. This is what we have to
This is
do.
what's missing.
This is what we have to do. Not that we reject those things. Those give us perimeters. Okay? Those things that we learned from Jahiliyyah culture, those are perimeters for us. Guidelines and guideposts along the line. But they let us know certain things. I'll give you an example. In the time of the Jews in Medina, they used to have a cake they would make, and they would put blood in this cake. Okay? They would have a celebration. They would put blood in the cake, in the filling, and they would eat this cake. All right? Now, after they came to Islam and during the time of Umar, they said, you know what? Let's go back and make that cake again. But instead of putting blood in there, let's put gel. So let's put some type of red cream. Umar considered it haram. And he prohibited them from doing that. Do you get the point? Now, there's nothing in the Sharia saying that you can't eat cake with gel in it. But he understood the culture where that came from. It's asl, right? It's origin. And so in order to prevent that, because then once you allow it, then it might go back to that, right?
Right.
Oh, well, we used to put blood in it. Oh, really? Let me put a little blood in here. You get my point? And so we have to do that. That's the Sharia. That's following the people of the past and how they apply the rules of the Aqidah and that type of thing. And if we do that, then everyone becomes a scientist. Immediate shuyukh are spawned out because people understand the culture a lot better. You know what I'm saying? And they can help and say, now, hey, Shaikh, what about this issue? Well, let's look that up. What is that particular issue? How do we understand that? Oh, should we be practicing Valentine's Day? Okay? You get my point? Let's study that. Oh, what about this thing about the heart? Where does that come from? Oh, and then we can start looking at our culture and being honest about our application of this deen. And it would have a realistic, meaningful effect upon us. Everybody got me?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going on. The story, I'm going through the story of Musa, going through the Sabbath. Okay, what time is it? Okay, well we can go through these next 2 pages, the ending pages of this, inshallah ta'ala, and wrap up the surah. Okay? I'm trying to determine where I'm going to be. I'm around 173, page 173. Excuse me? Ayah 1, I'm going to start at 175. Let's start there. Do the last 25 ayah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Allah is wrapping up this surah. Okay? وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ الَّذِي آتَيْنَاهُ آيَاتِنَا فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا. He says, recite to them the news, the prophecy, or the news about the one who we gave our signs. فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا. Then he came out of it like a snake comes out of his skin. Okay? He shook it off. And this is, I wanted to start here because this is what we do a lot of times. We find every excuse to slide out of Islamic activity. Okay? فَأَتْبَعَهُ الشَّيْطَانُ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ. And so when he did that, a shaitan followed him. Okay? A shaitan went after him and led him astray further. And they said, remember, shaitan said, aghwaytani, right? He said to Allah, because you aghwaytani, here ghawin, you ghawi other people, turn them, make them crooked. وَلَوْ شِئْنَا لَرَفَعْنَاهُ بِهَا وَلَكِنَّهُ أَخْلَدَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ وَاتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ. And if I had desired, Allah, I could have raised them all up. He could have made people lofty, have dignity. However, he made them stick to the ground, base. Made them stick to the ground in this regard, and they followed their desires. That's all they did. They were following the desires. So, فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِن تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْحَثْ أَوْ تَتْرُكْهُ يَلْحَثْ. And an example of him is like a dog, with his tongue sticking out, panting. You know, if you carry the dog, what happens to the dog? He pants. If you leave the dog alone, what does he do? He pants. Allah says, this is the example of people who deny the ayat of Allah. Okay? So recite to them the stories. Give them the stories. Explain this stuff to people so that perhaps they would think about it. Okay? سَاءَ مَثَلًا الْقَوْمُ الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا وَأَنفُسَهُمْ كَانُوا يَظْلِمُونَ. What an evil example. People who rejected the ayat of Allah, and they were, with regards to their own souls, their own selves, ظَالِمُونَ, oppressing themselves. Because you're not oppressing Allah. مَنْ يَهْدِ اللَّهُ فَهُوَ الْمُهْتَدِي. And there's another reason why I wanted to come here. Because Allah is letting you know the qadr again. Whoever Allah guides, then that's the one that you're going to find following the guidance. That's what muhtadi is. The one who is following the guidance. وَمَن يُضْلِلْ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. And who Allah leaves astray, then these are those who are khasirun. How many times did we mention this term? Enough that we get it through the mind. You gotta come sit with me so they know when you gotta come sit up here with me. No, not my cousin. Yeah. So afterwards you can come get the meat.
Yeah, he put it in the freezer back there.
Okay. Now I feel safe. No, I said. Alhamdulillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد ذرأنا لجهنم كثيرا من الجن والإنس. I love this ayah. Allah says, and I have prepared Jahannam, the fire, for many genies and many humans. لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. Where's the battlefield?
Hearts.
How many times have we seen this mentioned? There's consistency. He says they have hearts that they don't use to understand with. They can't understand nothing with them hearts. Didn't I say our intellect is in your heart? Your intellect is in the heart. From the very beginning, some people might have thought I was crazy, stretching. But all through, you see Allah's mentioning that your fiqh, your understanding comes through your heart. Okay? وَلَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. And they have eyes, but they can't envision anything with those eyes. Okay? وَلَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. And they have ears, but they can't hear nothing with that. And yubsirun, it doesn't mean they can't see. Don't sit in front of them. Come sit over here, man. Nothing. They have ears that they can't hear. They can't do anything to hear. And yubsirun is in vision. They can see, but they can't have the vision to understand what they're seeing. Does that make sense? أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. These people are like cattle. Rather, why did he use cattle? Because a cattle doesn't look up to see how the day is. Cattle don't say, what a nice day it is. The cattle, where's his head? On his stomach, filling his gut, chewing the cud. And even when he ain't got nothing to eat, he vomits it up and chews it some more. You get the point? So that's the example. We fill in our bellies. Not just the belly here, the ear, the eye, the nose, the mouth. Filling it with whatever it is going to make us feel happy at the moment. The base things. Rather, they're more straight because Allah created those animals like that, right? أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْغَافِلُونَ. These are those who are ghafil, unmindful. They not take ghafil here. The different shuyukh, they say, yo, when you get to this word, he says they don't think. What does it mean they don't think? They're thinking about some things, but they're not considering what the ramification. That's what they're not mind. Oh, I didn't think about it that way. No, you didn't think about it at all.
Yeah, you didn't think about it at all. It's all in the mind. So usually that phrase when you say you didn't think and you really wasn't thinking.
Don't do that. Don't.
Teach us. You just don't to speak if you stay. Okay?
Ulaika humul ghafilun. These are the ones that are not thinking properly. They're not thinking. Okay? وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. And then it goes back to Tawheed, right? And for Allah has the most beautiful names. Why? Because when you start thinking about the names of Allah, right? Then you start to become amazed about who Allah is. And we get examples from that. Okay? So call on Allah using His names. وَذَرُوا الَّذِينَ يُلْحِدُونَ فِي أَسْمَائِهِ. And leave those people who are yulhidun. These are atheists. Al-mulhid is an atheist. They don't believe they're making up these names. سَيُجَزَوْنَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. They will be paid back. They will soon be paid for what they were doing. وَمِمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا أُمَّةٌ يَهْدُونَ بِالْحَقِّ وَبِهِ يَعْدِلُونَ. And they're from amongst the people are a group of people we have created. They are guided by the truth. يَهْدُونَ بِالْحَقِّ. They follow the truth. The truth guides them. وَبِهِ يَعْدِلُونَ. And they do justice with it. Okay? Now the opposite. وَالَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا سَنَسْتَدْرِجُهُم مِّنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. And those people who deny the ayat of Allah, we will put them in the fire by degrees. By degrees, and they won't even realize, they don't even know. They won't even realize it. وَأُمْلِي لَهُمْ. And give them some room to hang themselves. Let them get ahead with themselves. Inna kaydi mateen. My plan, the plan of Allah, is unshakable. It's too firm. Ain't nothing going to change. Nothing they can do about it. Awalam yatafakkaru. Now you see the language? Yatafakkaru. From the beginning he started, right? La'allahum yatafakkarun. Think. And it says ghafilun. They're not thinking, right? You see the consistency in the idea? He says here, awalam yatafakkaru. Won't they just think, consider, fakir. Ma bisahibihim bijinnah. Their companion, Muhammad, is not Majnoon. He ain't got no spirit, no evil spirit with him. In huwa illa nadhirun mubin. He is only a warner, a clear warner. أَوَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا فِي مَلَكُوتِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Don't you look at the beauty of the sky, the universe, and the earth, and everything that Allah, all the things that Allah has created. Okay? It says what Allah has created from all the things. وَأَنْ عَسَىٰ أَنْ يَكُونَ قَدْ اقْتَرَبَ أَجَلُهُمْ. And that perhaps your time, your life is coming to an end, is close to ending. Okay? فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ يُؤْمِنُونَ. And then after that, which hadith you going to listen to? What hadith you going to believe then? It's too late. It's not considered belief after you die. It's yaqeen, certainty now. مَن يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ. And whoever Allah leaves to stray, then no one can guide him. Again, this is pointing to the qadr of Allah. وَيَذَرُهُمْ فِي طُغْيَانِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ. It leaves them going blindly to extremes. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ السَّاعَةِ أَيَّانَ مُرْسَاهَا. And they asking you about the hour. When is it going to be? قُلْ إِنَّمَا عِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ رَبِّي. Tell them that the knowledge about this is only with my Lord. لَا يُجَلِّيهَا لِوَقْتِهَا إِلَّا هُ. No, he's not going to make it jali. Jali is like the daytime. He's not going to make it plain to nobody except he's the only one that's going to know about it. ثَقُلَتْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. But the heavens, the sky, the universe, and the earth is creaking, is heavy. Everybody's on pins and needles. They're on their toes. The angels are about ready to do it. The angel Jibreel has the horn to his lips, and he's looking to Allah, waiting for the order. He's ready to blow. Okay? And he's been doing that, waiting for the moment. This is what it's talking about. Wallahu a'lam. La ta'tikum illa baghta. But it's not going to come to us except for all of a sudden. Yas'alunaka ka'annaka hafiyyun anha. They asking you like you responsible for it. This is showing that they don't get it. He's just a messenger. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He ain't got nothing to do with the order. Allah tells me to do this, I do that. Allah tells me to leave you, I leave you. Allah tells me to go to jihad, I do it. Allah tells me to forgive you, I do it. Whatever Allah tells you, I'm not responsible, it ain't my deal. Ain't got nothing to do with it. Laysa laka min al-amri min shay. You don't have nothing to do with it, Allah told him. قُلْ إِنَّمَا عِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. He says the same thing. Tell him again, the knowledge of the hour is only with Allah. First time he said the knowledge of it is only with my Lord. Now he says only with Allah. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. But most people don't know. قُلْ لَا أَمْلِكُ لِنَفْسِي نَفْعًا وَلَا ضَرًّا إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ. Say to them, I can't do nothing for myself. I'm not in control of even my own soul. I can't benefit myself. I can't harm myself. Yawm al-Qiyamah. Okay? Only what Allah wants is happening. وَلَوْ كُنْتُ أَعْلَمُ الْغَيْبَ لَاسْتَكْثَرْتُ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ وَمَا مَسَّنِيَ مِنَ السُّوءِ. But if I did know, I did have knowledge of the unseen, of things that was going to happen, I'd have got a lot of good. I'd have went and invested in this and got money over here, been at the right place at the right time, right? And no evil would have touched me. In ana illa nadhirun wa bashirun liqawmin yu'minun. I am only a warner and a motivator to people who believe. Okay? Why the people that believe? Because they're the only ones that's listening. You get the point? Huwa alladhi, how many times do we say that? He is the one. Allah is the one. هو الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وجعل منها زوجها ليسكن إليها. He is the one that created you all from one soul and then made a mate from it in order for you all to find tranquility with that mate. Some people mistakenly think because of yaskunu alayha, it means for the female. No, the soul is feminine in the language. So everybody has its mate, and everybody's going to find tranquility with their mate. It's like a right and left foot. You can't do it without the other one. You get the point? فَلَمَّا تَغَشَّاهَا حَمَلَتْ حَمْلًا خَفِيفًا فَمَرَّتْ بِهِ. So then when he covers her up, then she carries a light load. This is a subtle way of saying that. فلما أثقلت دعوا الله ربهما لئن آتيتنا صالحا لنكونن من الشاكرين. And then when it gets heavy, they both make dua to Allah, their Lord. They acknowledge, Lord, if you just give us a wholesome, righteous child, we would forever be grateful. And this is indicative of how we call on Allah for something great, like a child, which Allah has explained is a gift. Right? In every instance, it's a gift. Right? He mentions it in the Quran. Wahab. Haba. فَلَمَّا آتَاهُمَا صَالِحًا جَعَلَ لَهُ شُرَكَاءَ فِيمَا آتَاهُمَا فَتَعَالَى اللَّهُ عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ. But then when Allah gives them a righteous, wholesome child, the two of them make partners and associate the child's health and all of that to something else. Subhanallah. Glorified high is Allah from the things that we make shirk with. أَيُشْرِكُونَ مَا لَا يَخْلُقُ شَيْئًا وَهُمْ يُخْلَقُونَ. Are they going to make a partner with something that doesn't create, but it is itself created? وَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ لَهُمْ نَصْرًا وَلَا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَنصُرُونَ. And it can't help them do nothing. It has no power to do anything, and it can't even help itself. وَإِن تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَى الْهُدَى لَا يَتَّبِعُوكُمْ. And if you were to call on it for guidance, it could not respond to you, and you couldn't follow it up and do nothing, right? سواء عليكم أدعوتموهم أم أنتم صامتون. It's the same whether you call on them things or you don't and you just shut up. صامتون, you just be quiet. إن الذين تدعون من دون الله عباد أمثالكم. Allah makes it clear. All those things you call on besides Allah are just slaves of Allah, just like you. فَدَعُوهُمْ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. So then call on them. Let's see them respond to you if you're truthful. If you're telling the truth. You know how we said that if you're telling the truth, let's see them respond to you. أَلَهُمُ أَرْجُلٌ يَمْشُونَ بِهَا. Do they have legs that they walk around with? أَمْ لَهُمُ أَيْدٍ يَبْطِشُونَ بِهَا. And do they have hands that they can take things with? Or they have any might with? أَمْ لَهُمُ أَعْيُنٌ يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. Do they have eyes that they can see things with and envision things? أَمْ لَهُمُ آذَانٌ يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. Or do they have ears that they can actually hear something with? قُلُ ادْعُوا شُرَكَاءَكُمْ ثُمَّ كِيدُونِي فَلَا تُنظِرُونَ. Or تُنظِرُونِي. It says, call on your partners. Call them. Get your help. And then don't hesitate. Make your plot and attack me. Okay? Don't give me no respite. Don't give me no hesitation. إِنَّ وَلِيَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِي نَزَّلَ الْكِتَابَ وَهُوَ يَتَوَلَّى الصَّالِحِينَ. The fact of the matter is, my protector, the ones who order me around is Allah. Okay? And He is the one who is Allah, the one who sent down the book. And He is the one that yatawalla salihin. He protects the righteous. وَالَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ نَصْرَكُمْ وَلَا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَنصُرُونَ. And those that you call on besides Allah, that are less than Allah, they have no ability to help you, and they cannot even help their own selves. And this is repetitive, he's repeating again for ta'keed. If you didn't get it the first time, you get it the second time and the third time. وَإِن تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَى الْهُدَى لَا يَسْمَعُوا. And if you call them to guidance, they will never respond. They can't hear you. وَتَرَاهُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَيْكَ وَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. And you see them looking at you. Don't you see the idols? They looking at you, but they can't see nothing. Okay? You know, we laugh because we say, man, how foolish it is. But people actually don't get it. They say, of course they can't see. Well, of course, why are you watching it then? Why are you, making it to calf with it? Right? Why are you devoted to this thing? Allah gives us advice now about these people. خُذِ الْعَفْوَ وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. He says, but go easy on them. Be sahl. Go easy on these people when you deal with them, okay? And order them with what, and command what is urf. Urf is what is irrefutably recognized as good, okay? Ma'ruf is the Sharia. But like in your culture, it goes back to culture, okay? Sometimes, like if you're in New York and somebody asks what time, you say the time, you keep moving, nobody's going to say anything. But in some other places, you might be rude. Well, man, you just told me the time and kept walking, right? Because it's culture. So urf is contingent on the place you're at, okay? And that's why we have to realize, we have to stop trying to make everything fit in one. Islam is not this pigeonhole thing. It's multifaceted. It encompasses all cultures with the hudud, with the perimeters, And so here Allah is telling us in the language, order what is urf, what is easily, irrefutably recognized. Not is irrefutably recognized. Nobody can look at this and say, yo, that's wrong what you did. Do what's recognizably good in every culture that you're living in. وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. And turn away. Ignore the ignorant person. Okay? Ignore them, turn away from them. Why? That's the better way to get them to come back. That's causing the least harm. Most of the times we don't ignore them because we got an ego problem. I'm going to prove to you that I can take you out. You ain't going to do me like that, right? You know who I am? You get myself? That's most of the time where we don't just say, all right, no problem. Leave it, man. If we can. Unless they come in your airspace, then you don't have no reason to get violent, Maybe we got to say it again because we got a lot of black folk here. Unless he gets in your airspace, there's no reason to get violent. No, but we come from a very violent culture here in the West, right? With a lot of violence is promoted. And we have to realize that they are not our teachers, okay? So Allah and His Messenger, that's the guidance we're taking from, not from these people. And Allah's Messenger, Allah's telling us right here, the best way to do it is turn away from ignorant people, okay? وَإِمَّا يَنزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. And if the shaitan incites you, he inspires you to do something wrong, then seek the isti'adha billah. Say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Real easy. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. If it doesn't work, say it again. Keep saying it until it works. There was a time, I learned years ago, I was teaching in Kansas City, Missouri, back in the 90s. And I had learned the dua. I just learned the dua, Amentu billahi wa rasuli, right? When you get angry, say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Amentu billahi wa rasuli, right? So you say that dua when you get angry. And I learned it. I forgot my wife was there when I learned it. So she said something and got me angry. And I said, A'udhu billahi, Amentu billahi wa rasuli. Oh yeah, right? So now you're angry. And I was like, Amentu billahi wa rasuli. It's not working, And it wasn't working. I mean, it just wasn't working. The dua, I was still getting upset and we still would have an argument. So one day, we're having this quiet argument, you're trying not to argue out loud, but you're arguing as you're walking, You try to walk a little faster, you can say the last word and keep going, but she keeps up with you. So I'm going into my classroom and I'm at the school and she's following me, arguing with me. And I said, look, I cannot go into my classroom, like this, right? Because she might keep it up, And so I walked in my office and I said the dua, but I said, maybe if I say it quietly, then it will work. And wallahi, I said it and I really meant it. I really meant it. And before I turned around, I was laughing. Before I went to my desk, she's right behind me, breathing down my neck. I put my book there, I make the dua, I turn around and I'm laughing. And then she starts laughing. And we start laughing. I said, listen, I got to go to class. And that was it. And ever since the dua worked. Why? Sincerity in the dua. I learned the lesson. I was saying it the first time, to be honest, to let her know I was angry. A'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim. Amantu billahi wa rasul. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to making the dua for the right reason. Okay? So we have to look at that ourselves. When we go to make dua, asking Allah, we have to sincerely ask Allah. And not do it for the wrong reasons. And may Allah give us sincerity. وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ دِينَ. We've not been ordered to do anything in our worship except to worship Allah sincerely. Do our level best. Okay? Honest to God best, as we say in English. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإما ينزغنك من الشيطان نزغ فاستعذ بالله إنه سميع عليم. He is all hearing. He hears everything and he knows everything, which is beautiful when you talk about asking and making dua to Allah. So you know he hears you, right? And Allah reiterates this point a lot in the Quran when someone's making dua, that you don't have to make it loud. Allah hears you. إن الذين اتقوا إذا مسهم طائف من الشيطان تذكروا فإذا هم مبصرون. The fact of the matter is, those who have taqwa, when some shaitan, a group of devils, touch them, right? Shake them up. Get them, when a shaitan touches you, you start acting all crazy. I mentioned that a shaitan gets you to start convulsing, spitting out their mouth. People go mad, literally, right? Tadakkaru, the people with taqwa, remember, they get reminded about Allah because they know they're going to see that. You acting up like that, it's like, you acting up and your father walks in the room. You be like, you catch yourself. All of a sudden you can keep your cool, right? Because you were not taught to act like that. You got to remember that Allah sees us. And the angels are recording it, and we're going to see it again. And so what you want to be seen doing, it says they remember Allah. Fa'idha, all of a sudden, that's what Arabic, fa'idha means, like all of a sudden, hum mubsin, they can see clearly now. Okay? Or the fog is gone. It looks so crazy sometimes in the heat of the moment. But if you make dua, you turn to Allah, He will break that cloud and make it clear what is really going on. And you'll be able to stay calm. Bi-idhnillah, with the permission and authority of Allah. But we keep thinking that we have to do it ourselves. Okay? Looking at these two ayahs, remember the first one, he said, take by afwan and order what is easily recognizable as good and turn away from the jahilin. That's when dealing with human devils. The second part of this is when you're dealing with the genie devils. You need Allah's help. Why? Because the genies see you where you can't see them. Okay? They're more subtle. And that's why he says turn to Allah when you need for that time. But when it's a human, a jahil individual, then just turn away from him. Wa'mur bil ma'ruf. Because that's going to affect the ignorant person. Being kind to the human can affect the human. But the shaitan ain't changing. You can't be nice to him. Okay? So you turn to Allah and you fight him. Does that make sense? And that's why these two different approaches with the shayateen. The human shaitan and the genie shaitan. Okay? وَإِخْوَانُهُمْ يَمُدُّونَهُمْ فِي الْغَيِّ ثُمَّ لَا يُقْصِرُونَ. And that's just saying what I'm saying right here. Okay? And the brothers of the shaitan, the jinns, and they stretching their hands out fil ghayy, in trying to do all types of hard, trying to twist things up. And they la yuqsirun. What is yuqsirun? Qasr. They don't miss nothing. They don't go short. Meaning they go all in trying to, what do they say? They don't not turn over every rock. They're going to turn over every rock trying to harm you. They're not going to go easy on you. Basically, what is it saying? They're not going to take it light on you. La yuqsirun. Nah. Okay? You get my point? They're going to go in hard. Okay?
And go on.
And go on and keep going on. They're going to do everything they can. Like if you give them the inch, they will take the mile. Okay? وَإِذَا لَمْ تَأْتِهِمْ بِآيَةٍ قَالُوا. And when they asked the prophet for ayahs to come down when they want it. Sometimes people say, well, give us an ayah now. And if the prophet doesn't give an ayah right then and there, Allah tells them, say, قَالُوا لَوْ لَجْتَبَيْتَهَا. So when he didn't bring them an ayah, they said, why don't you just make something up? Why don't you just put something together for us? Again, they still don't get it. Remember they were saying, hey, why don't he tells them, Wali Allah, Allah is my Wali. Aren't you in charge of the last day? When's the last day? No, it's Allah. Here again, why don't you bring an ayah? Why don't you just come together with put some words together? Right? They still don't get it. So Allah's telling them, قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَتَّبِعُ مَا يُوحَى إِلَيَّ مِن رَبِّي. Remind them, tell them, I'm only following what's been revealed to me from my Lord. Again, I said, if he tells me to do this, I do that. If he tells me to do the next thing, I do that. He tells me to go, I go. He tells me to stay, I stay. This is all I'm doing. هذا بصائر من ربكم وهدى ورحمة لقوم يؤمنون. This is the visions. Basar. Remember he using this word basar, basira. They can't see, they can't envision. Here, this is the clear visions now. This is what you should see. And vision is not only the ability to see something, but to see what can be there. Okay? To see what should be there. They call somebody an envisionary personality, somebody's a visionary, is not because they can't see things, it's because they can't see things. I'm sorry. A visionary person doesn't see the problem. Okay? Where everybody else sees problems and things that they can't, he doesn't see any obstructions. Like I say, that doesn't see the problem. He doesn't see any obstructions. He doesn't see how we still can't do that. And that's why he's considered a visionary person. Not because of what he sees, it's because of what he don't see. Does that make sense? So these are the things you should see from your Lord. This is his guidance. This is the mercy for people who what? Believe. وَإِذَا قُرِيَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. And when the Quran is recited, then listen to it. وَأَنصِتُوا, and be quiet. Why? لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ, so that perhaps you may be shown some mercy. That at this time, I remember my Shaikh, he started talking about the importance or the benefit of standing up at night and studying over standing up at night and praying. He asked us, which one is better? To stand up at night and pray all night, or to stand up at night and study for a little bit? Say? To study. Why?
Jahili is no good.
Sorry?
Jahili is no good.
Jahili is no good. It's true. He's correct. But the reason is this. When you stand, and the quote goes, standing up at nighttime to study for 1 hour beats standing up all night in salah. Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. Why? Because we have in the Arabic language fi'lul muta'addi wa fi'lul lazim. Okay? So an action that is lazim, it sticks to the one who did it. I sat down. Who did the action? I did the action, right? What was the action? Who did it affect? Me. So that's a fi'lul lazim. I hit him. Who did the action? What was the action? Who did it affect? It affected someone else. So we call that muta'addi. It transcended, right? If I stand up and pray all night, who does it affect? You. Thank you. If I stay up and study 1 hour at night, who does it affect? You and everybody. You and everyone you meet. And everyone that sees you. And the intention for studying is to raise ignorance off me and those around me. It's that circle of influence, right? So then you can affect and you can give an answer. Because you go to a doctor whenever you get sick, but you go to a faqih every day. You use fiqh every moment of your life. Is that correct or not? Yes. Why don't you sleep on your stomach? Because Allah tells us, Allah's messenger told us that the people in the Jahannam, they sleep on their stomach. And that's the sleeping on the people in the stomach. And he ordered us to sleep on our right, and sleep on our left, and sleep on our back, and not to sleep on our stomach, right? So even sleeping, we try not. That takes knowledge, right? Why don't you eat with your left hand? Right, because Allah's messenger ordered us to eat with our right and told us not to eat with our left. And he's putting certain things in the right hand that he hasn't put in the left hand. Right? You guys get my, and that takes knowledge. So if we didn't study these things, we wouldn't know these things. So here he mentions that because he says here, when the Quran is recited, then listen. It's different from fasma'u. Fasma'u is to hear. Fastami'u is the intention to understand what you're hearing. Does that make difference? It's focusing on what you hear. وَأَنصِتُوا, and he's telling you to be quiet. Because we know that if you're talking, you ain't listening. And this is reiterated. When people say to you, no, I am listening to you. Yada, 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 yada. I hear you. I didn't ask you to hear me. I told you to listen. Right? Focus on what you hear. And you can't do that when you're listening, when you're speaking. Okay? And so here, and the mercy that you'll get is learning some knowledge. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. One of the things is that you might get some mercy. Why? You might learn something, and that might teach you something that might save you from going to the fire. You get the point? Because now you know something more. You might make another dua. You might do another good act. You might not do a bad act. You might prevent. And Allah's messenger said, don't look down on any good deed. لَا تَحْقِرَنَّ شَيْئًا مِنَ الْمَعْرُوفِ. Don't scoff at any small deed that somebody does or that you can do. You don't know what's going to tip you over. وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ فِي نَفْسِكَ تَضَرُّعًا وَخِيفَةً وَدُونَ الْجَهْرِ مِنَ الْقَوْلِ بِالْغُدُوِّ وَلَا صَالٍ وَلَا تَكُنْ مِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. You see how he ends it? And don't be ghafil. Again, I told you from the beginning what the tone of this surah is. Don't think. Think about what you're doing. Consider it before you do it. Don't be unmindful. Say, oh man, I didn't think of it like that. You better think of it in every way. And you should be quiet so you can think of it. Listen to the Quran so it can help you think of it. Inspire you, tell you some thoughts. Oh, I didn't see it that way. He says, remember your Lord. Okay. And first going back to the ayah, it says when he recited the Quran, the ulama argue about this. They say that they have different stances. Some say this is general. General in any case, whenever you hear the Quran. And others say no, this is in Salah. If you hear the Imam reciting Salah, then you be quiet. Okay? And then they go into the issue about the Salah. What about the issue about reciting Al-Fatiha in the Salah? And the Imam is reciting. Well, they say, listen, what are you going to say when he says Ameen? I mean, when he says Walad Daleen. What does Ameen mean? The same thing that you said. Get it? So you saying Ameen is like you said the whole Fatiha with him. You get the point? But if it's a silent salah, then you do your best to recite it. And if he recites and then he says Allahu Akbar and you didn't get to finish, that's why he's the Imam. The salah of the Imam, yashmal, is for the whole community. And that's why it's important to respect the Imam and to hope good for them. Because if his salah is accepted, if his dua is accepted, yours is. Does that make sense, everybody? So then, وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ فِي نَفْسِكَ, and remember your Lord in yourself, in your own self, right? Quietly, tadarru'an, with humility, not over entitled, وَخِيفَةً, and of being afraid, okay? Being afraid that you might not get your dua answered. Being afraid that you might be one of the people that Allah has decided to put in the fire. Okay? And what can change that? The qadr. The dua going up comes down with the qadr and could change that by asking Allah. Rabbi ghfirli, Rabbi ghfirli, Rabbi ghfirli. Asking Allah to forgive us over and over again. فَحَتَّى غَفَرَهُ اللَّهُ. Okay? If you ask 3 times and finally the angels say, forgive him, Allah, forgive him. Forgive. They say the angels here, you ask for forgiveness 3 times and then they say, oh Allah, forgive him. So we should be asking for forgiveness a lot, so that Allah will be even getting the plea from the angels. And so remembering Allah in yourself, without a long talk and everything, or in the early mornings and in the evenings, and don't be unmindful. Why is remembering Allah quietly in your head. How is that beneficial?
It's the class.
It's a class. It's the most sincere act of ibadah. In your head, you're thinking about Allah. How come it's the most sincere act of ibadah? You're not showing off. How come you're not showing off? How come? How do we know you're not showing off? Because no one knows what's in your mind, right? So it's total sincerity to Allah. The only one that knows is Allah, right? So that's why it's the most sincere act. Wala dhikrullahu akbar. The greatest act of ibadah. Think about Allah. Alhamdulillah. The last ayah. This ayah is the first ayah of sajda in the Quran. Okay? إن الذين عند ربك لا يستكبرون عن عبادته ويسبحونه وله يسجدون. The fact of the matter is that those who are with Allah, the angels and those denizens of the Jannah, they never get arrogant about worshiping Allah, and they glorify Allah and they submit to Him. Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. This ends this surah. This surah, alhamdulillah, was about being committed to Allah in a proactive way, and that Allah does not accept mediocrity. You're either with Him, with proactive, full-fledged, or He puts you, may Allah protect us from that, with the kuffars. That riding the fence is not acceptable with Allah. May Allah forgive us and guide us. This ends what we're going to go through in the Quran. Our next class is Monday. It's our last class. Those people, please come. You get your certificates, inshallah ta'ala, for participation in this class on, was it Monday, right? Monday. Please be on time. We'll take questions at that time and say what we're going to do next, inshallah ta'ala. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. And that will be the last class. Okay? Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I shouldn't say that. It's going to be the last class for Ramadan. We're going to continue after Ramadan.
We're trying to get the program ready for about the 10th of June.
Yes, it's going to start on the 10th on the Kafir calendar, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So on the 10th of June on the Kafir calendar, we're going to start again. See, well, I want people to understand this. Sometimes people show up late. You miss most of the lesson. The most important part of a lesson is the beginning and the end. Okay? The end wraps it up. The beginning puts it into context. So what does that mean? If you don't get started on the 10th, you're going to miss a lot of usul. You're going to miss a lot of the things that you're going to need as we go along and learn tafsir. And lots of times I've been going places, people say, look, we want to go through the whole Quran. We want to learn it. We want. Now we're going to do it. We've been going around the whole country, and everybody's saying, stay, do it here, do it here. We're doing it here in Durham. Okay? So let's do it right by being on time. I don't just mean for the time for the class, but mean starting when the class starts so we can finish it. We're on page 164 or something like that. The Quran has 604 pages. So really we've done about a sixth of the Quran, right? 1/6 of the Quran. Has it been life-changing? Okay? We've done less than 20 surahs, right? We've done approximately 20 surahs. There are 114. Walaikum salam. Do you think that another 20 going to do the same thing that these 20 did for you? You get my point, guys? So just imagine, if you want that, you got to be committed. You got to be here and be ready to rumble and adjust your schedule to do so. Inshallah.
I guess we talk more about this on Monday, inshallah.
Yeah, Monday we'll talk about it.
Talk more about it, but we do have people helping to sponsor this program. It's going to be a 6-month-long program, inshallah, twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. And we'll try to have more details for you. And we'll have opportunities for those who want to be a part of this, to benefit from this, in terms of the sadaqah, to make some donations inshallah, if you can. But right now, we are at about 85% funded. So don't miss out on this.
Okay, okay.
Assalamu alaikum to Allah. Just wanted to let everybody know about the Eid celebration in Raleigh at Lake Wheeler. Some of you may have gone last year or 2 years ago, organized by some of the brothers.